Hello everybody. Hope you're all well on this almost Christmassy morning. It's the first ice we've had, right? So it's fine. We can talk about festive murder mysteries now, right?
Definitely time.
Yeah. So I'm Nicola from Listening Books, so an audiobook lending charity for those who are a barrier to traditional print books. And welcome to our latest author Q&A. So we do these every month. And this month we're joined by cozy crime or murder mystery writer Katy Watson. So she's author of the Three Dahlias Series. So at the moment we've got A Lively Midwinter Murder out on paperback and A Deadly Night at the Theatre out on hardback. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. And enjoying the slight snap in the air. Definitely starting to feel a bit festive.
I mean, is it autumn? Is autumn gone now? I don't know. It's kind of hard to.
There are no interestingly coloured leaves left on the trees currently, so yeah, I'm done.
Done with autumn, on to Christmas. That's fine. So everybody tuning in, remember if you've ever got questions for Katy, do drop them in the chat box, and we'll get around to those a bit later. So let's talk about all things murder mystery. When did the initial idea for Rosalind, Kara, and Posey and the Three Dahlias first come to you?
It was August 2020, and I've written for other genres before. I've written romance and women's fiction for children's, and I just finished my last young adult contract, and I was out of contract and I was looking for a new idea, and my agent said, maybe it's time to write that crime book you've always wanted to write and never quite managed to do it. So being that it was 2020, I had quite a lot of time on my hands. It was the summer holiday, so I was no longer homeschooling my children and trying to finish books at the same time, which was nice. We were painting the shed because that's what you do. Yeah. And we thought if we painted the shed, the kids would have somewhere else to go and entertain themselves during the working day. So we were painting the shed, and I was talking with my husband. I said, I want to write this crime book. I'm not quite sure what it's about. And so we were talking about all the different things that I love about crime fiction and how I really love all the classic golden age crime like Agatha Christie and Dorothy L. Sayers. And I knew I wanted to write something that felt like that kind of murder mystery, that real classic golden age murder mystery, but I wanted to set it now. And I started thinking about watching the adaptations of the books and on the TV and David Suchet and all the Miss Marples. And suddenly, there it was. And for the longest time in all my notes, the book was called Three Not Marples, because I knew I wanted three actresses who'd played the same fictional detective. And that was the starting point. And then I refined it and decided I wanted them to be from different generations, different eras, playing her in different ways on different formats and things. And yeah, that's where it all came from.
Nice. And all three amateur sleuths have obviously played the fictional role of Dahlia Lively. Which came first? So obviously the Three Dahlias or the book version of Dahlia?
The first point was that I had these actresses who played this detective, and then I had to come up with the detective. So Dahlia Lively came second, but she absolutely formed, she brought it all together. Once I had her, I understood who these women were a bit better.
So what did the process of bringing all three characters plus the fictional world of Dahlia look like? Because it's like juggling two separate thoroughfares, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth and figuring things out and a lot of note taking. I did a lot of research about Golden Age authors in their real lives as well as their fictional ones. I read a lot about Agatha Christie's plotting process and her notebooks and all the notes she kept. And I texted with my agent a lot, who I have a very close relationship with my agent. I'm very lucky. I've been with her my entire career. And she is a huge murder mystery fan. I mean, her idea of bliss is Midsummer Murders on the sofa. So I would be texting back and forth going, I need a name for this detective. And we'd come up with a few, like, I feel like a flower name, but not like a normal flower name, like an unusual flower name. And we'd go back and forth and back and forth. And she'd send me these snippets of, I think she should call everyone Kiddo. And could there be a doll's house in the big house? So she had all these little ideas that fed in that helped me build the world in my head. So yeah, it was great.
And the Three Dahlias books obviously balance humour, warmth, and genuine danger. How do you strike that sort of tonal balance when writing crime that's crazy but still like emotionally resonant to you?
I think the first thing is I know my ideal reader. They always talk about this for authors, so you have to know your ideal reader. And for these books, it's my mum. And my mum hates any sort of grit and gore, but she loves a murder mystery. So she really likes those cozy classic crimes, but she wants them to be engaging. She wants to care about the characters, and she wants them to be emotionally interesting. But she just doesn't want the bloodshed or the gore or the grit. So when I'm writing and when I'm plotting, I'm like, what would mum think about this? Would mum like this? Is mum going to say no? so that's how I do it. But I never let her read them until they're published in case I'm wrong.
Yeah. So is she like your tester, if that makes sense?
Yeah, she doesn't get to read them early or anything, but mentally, I'm like, if I was sitting on the sofa watching a TV show in which this happened with my mum, would she be hiding behind the sofa yet? Would she have gone to make another cup of coffee?
Does she guess the twists as well, is the question?
No, she doesn't. Okay. And I can't quite decide whether that's because she doesn't even try, because she's very good at these things, but I think she doesn't want to ruin it. She just wants to enjoy the story.
Yeah, go along with the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the three Dahlias all feel like fully realised women at different stages of their careers, which is what I really love about them as well, and the dynamics. Did any of them change significantly from your earlier drafts at all?
Not really, actually. They've always been very much themselves. And I think I've reached the point now, 6 books in, where I can hear them in my head. I know exactly how each one of them would respond to different things because they feel very real to me too. And I think when I was writing that first book, I understood them better as we went through. The basic things stayed the same, but how I understood them, got deeper. And they change in every book. They're all still growing. They're all still learning. And I like that about them. I think one of my favorite things about writing the books, after I've finished coming up with all the twists and turns, is the relationship between the 3 women and how that grows and develops.
Yeah, and obviously your latest one, the theatre mystery. Can you tell us a little bit more without getting into spoilers? Because there's a bit of a challenge for 2 of them, isn't there, in this one?
This one was hard. And when I was when I started working on it, I was doing a lot of events for the previous book coming out, and I was talking about it. And every time I told an audience, and Posy's going to be the suspect, and they're all going to fall out, they were horrified. Yeah. I'll make it okay. It'll be all right.
It'll be fun.
It was really, really hard. But I think after doing 4 books and getting closer and closer and closer, it was time to pull them apart a little bit. So in this book, Caro and Posy are both on the stage in London in the West End and different plays and different theatres. And Caro's co-star is somebody from Posy's past who she does not have fond memories of. And while Posy tries to warn Caro about this guy, Caro believes in second chances. She believes he's really changed. And the 2 of them fall out quite significantly over this. And then, of course, when he's discovered dead in Posy's dressing room with her standing over him covered in his blood, it's not a great start.
Doesn't look great.
So Posy's trying to prove her innocence, and Rosalind's trying to patch everything up between them and work with Caro. And they're all trying to navigate this sudden new shift in their relationship, and also get Posy off the hook as long as they definitely believe she's innocent.
So do you intentionally map like the friendship arcs alongside the mystery plots? Yeah. Or do they unfold? Yeah.
No, I do. And I do it per contract. So the first contract was for 3 books. And I didn't know that when I wrote the first one, but I knew where I wanted them to be by the end of the first book. So then when I was mapping the next 2 out for what I wanted to do for them, I thought about where I wanted that relationship to go. And then the biggest opportunity was the 3 books for A Lively Midwinter Murder, which is the one that's just out in paperback, The Deadly Night at the Theatre, which came out this summer, and Death on a Lively Sea, which will be out next summer. And so when I was planning those 3 books, I very much planned them together and thought about where will the characters go. So after the horrors I put them through this summer, I knew they'd get to go on this lovely trip on Death on a Lively Sea. And yes, there'd be some death, but they'd be sorting themselves out a bit too. So, yeah.
And so if Dahlia Lively herself were real, what would she think of the actresses, do you think, who played her? And are any of the real life mysteries they've solved?
I think she'd love them all. And I think she'd love them all in different ways, because I do.
Yeah.
I think she'd love Rosalind's elegance and her incredible intelligence and how she can see the big picture, all the rest of it. She'd love Caro's spirit and her snarkiness and her style. And I think she would love Posy because she tries so hard and she's overcome so much, and she is now such an incredibly valuable part of the team. She's the heart of the three of them in some ways, and I think Dahlia would see that too.
And she get great note taking as well.
Yeah, that too. She does have a lot of notebooks. I do like that about her.
Yeah. So each chapter starts with a quote from a Daily Lively book by Lettice Davenport. How many are there in total, or is it just a growing number?
There are 77 novels and then also short stories. She wrote pretty much one a year, but not quite every year. She slowed down a little bit towards the end. And yes, I have a giant document with every title, and every time I use a quote, it goes against that title. So I know, trying to keep the books thematic, so that if all the quotes from different ones, they should all add up to a book you could see. They could believe that they're all in the same book together. And then every time I mention one of the books and what happens in it, I have to make a note on my big spreadsheet so that I can keep track of them all. And a couple of the short stories I've actually written, and you can get them if you download them. If you sign up for my newsletter, yeah, you get the download links for those as well. But I wrote them in such a way that the Three Dahlias also managed to get involved.
Nice.
They were fun. I liked those.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, you've created like an entire fictional literary canon.
I was really very bored in 2020.
Would you ever be tempted to write a full-blown Daily Lively book and bring that to life, would you say?
Maybe. I don't know. I never say never to this one. I don't know. When I was writing A Very Lively Murder, which is the second book, in that they're on the film set for the first Dahlia Lively movie, which is called The Lady Detective. And because they are filming it, and there are lots of scenes in which they are filming, or that I had to have my cast list, I had to know who was playing which parts. I had to plot out that book almost entirely to know who all the characters were. So I knew who my actors were in A Very Lively Murder. And I had to figure out what the scenes were, the big picture scenes were. And some of them even feature in the Three Dahlias because they feature that. So yeah, I've got a pretty good idea of that book. I reckon I could write that one tomorrow if I had to.
Yeah, I feel like you've done all the work for it now already, haven't you? So would you I love the detail that Caro is writing the books throughout the series. It's such a fun meta element. When did that idea come to you?
I'm really not sure. I think it was because when we were talking about settings for future books, when I'd finished the first one, so well, obviously the second one needs to be on the film set, and we were talking about possible things, and somebody said, oh, well, crime fiction festival. And of course, I was going to crime fiction festivals, crime writing festivals as a new crime author and learning all about them. I thought it would be really fun if they went there. But why would they go there? Oh, obviously. Yeah. Caro is underemployed and nobody will cast her. What's she going to do? So yeah, it just sort of came quite organically that way. But I do enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, would you be friends with the Three Dahlias? Because I do feel like Miss Marple, wherever she goes, or Midsummer Murders, why would you live in Midsummer Murders? People sort of die around them, don't they?
I think I would. I think I would be friends with them because I would trust them to keep me safe and prove I didn't do it.
That is a good point. Yeah. So being a cozy crime author and murder mystery, there's so much planning and research involved with suspects, twists, settings. How do you map everything out? I know you said you've got your spreadsheets. Do you have like the murder boards they have, the typical ones with the string?
Yeah, I find I plot each book differently. So sometimes I've got multicolored index cards all over my dining table and I'm pinning them at places. Sometimes I've got post-it notes and printouts and scribbled notes pinned on my notice board in my office. Sometimes I do it all on the screen. I use a writing program called Scrivener, and everything ends up in there eventually. It's got a great virtual index card thing, so I can do each scene individually and write all my notes on it. So everything ends up there in the end. It just depends where it goes first. But often it just starts in a notebook, and I will just start writing down everything I know. And then everything that sparks, every idea I suddenly have. I keep notes on these books for a long time before I start actually writing them. They start a lot earlier. And then I suddenly hit the point where it's time to start work properly. And I have a couple of really frenzied weeks of figuring everything out. But I'm always surprised when I look at my notes at that point, how much I already know.
Oh, that's quite handy. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, don't know.
Oh, I was just going to say, what does the writing process look for you? Like, how long is the research stage, and how long is that frantic, I've got to write now, it's blank pages?
It depends on when my deadline is
Right.
and what other projects I'm working on and
Mm.
what's when. So for A Lively Midwinter Murder to come out last Christmas in hardback, I had a very, very short lead time on that. I had to write 2 hardback books in a year. But I was also writing other books under some of my other pen names that I was already contracted for. So that was quite a full-on year. So sometimes it's not as much time as I'd like. But what I normally do is say I'll do note taking for as long as I have beforehand, and then I'll normally sit down, try and give myself 2 weeks to figure it out, all the details, so that when I sit down to start writing, I'm confident where the story's going. It will often change as I get going and as I get to know the characters more on the page, and I'll have a better idea about something, or something just won't ring quite right, and I'll make adjustments as I go along. But I like to know where I'm going from the start, and I usually know who did it and why and how, and most of the secrets that people are hiding, although say some of them change or deepen. And then I write for usually a couple of months. I would love 3 months. Sometimes it's 2. It depends how that goes. But if I aim for about 10,000 words a week, and they're about 80,000 words long, not 90,000, then that sort of works out about right. And then I will revise it, and I'll go over it myself and give it a quick revision before I send it to my agent Gemma, who's always my first reader. And she is wonderful because she will quite often drop everything and read it through and send me back some really, really, really detailed and often harsh edits on everything I need to fix and what doesn't work. I mean, she's brutal, but we've worked together long enough now that it's okay. She now suddenly just about remembers to say, I really liked this book. However, and then it's all the other things and the finishing.
Yeah.
But I know it'll be great when you're done. Thanks, Gemma.
Oh, it's always that but, isn't it? Brace.
And then I spend probably 4 weeks rewriting her notes before it goes to my editor. And then I have her edits, and there's usually a couple of rounds there, and then the copy edits, and then the proofs. And it's a long process. It takes a while.
Yeah, definitely. And so do you start with the crime, the setting, or the character arcs? Because I know sometimes authors start with different places in the book.
Yeah, it depends is the answer on that one, depending which one I'm writing. I think actually mostly in this series it started with the location. I think, with the Three Dahlias, I knew I had my actresses first, I had my characters first, but I knew I needed a way to get them together. And that was a fan convention for the author Lettice Davenport at her family's stately home. So once I knew they were there, I could build out from that of all the events that would be happening at a fan convention, the people who would be there, the different things that might be going on, and then I could find out where the crime might be hiding. Again, with book 2, it's the film set, they're making the film. So I knew where I was starting from, and then I knew my cast came from that, the cast of the film. And then again, say with the literary festival for 7 Lively Suspects, that was very much the starting point there. And again, a snowed-in Scottish castle. I mean, who wouldn't want to write a Christmas mystery there? And then I knew I wanted them to take them back to the theatre. And then the most recent one that I've just turned in and just had accepted by my publisher, The Death on a Lively Sea, was I wanted them to go on a mega yacht round the Med. So they did.
Did you get to do much research for that one in the Med?
I did an awful lot of research. Unfortunately, all of it was sitting at my computer, watching other people explore glorious places, and then phoning up my dad and my mum going, what was it like when you went to Sorrento?
Oh, bless. What would you say the hardest part of writing a mystery is for you? The clues, the structure, the pacing, the characters?
I think the hardest part for me is getting it all to hang together and then trusting myself that I've done it right. I have absolute panic dreams every time before publication. About a month before, I start having these dreams that there's a huge logistical error in the murder and someone's going to pick it up and yell at me about it. But it's going to be a reader because it's been missed by me, my editor, the copyright editor, the proofreader, and everybody else along the way. But it's huge and it's going to ruin the whole book. So I think there's always so many pieces. to a crime like this, and there's so many who's, where, when, what's happening, all those little details. I try really hard to take good notes, and I try really hard to track them more carefully. But at a certain point, when you're making changes in the edits, I always worry that I've lost track of something. That's my big panic every time.
Oh, bless. And what would you say the most surprising or maybe unusual thing you've had to research for the series has been? And are you a bit worried about your search history?
I am very concerned about my search history, massively so. I think probably the most red flag issue is poisons, and especially plant poisons, like natural things you could find in your own garden poisons. Those I feel would worry somebody checking out my search history.
How would you say your writing process has changed at all between the books since you've evolved with the characters and dived more into this world?
Yeah, definitely. I think I have a much better feel for how these stories flow now than I did when I started. So when I wrote the Three Dahlias, I'd never written anything this big and complex before, and it took an awful lot of edits to get it right, and a lot of changing my mind about fundamental things halfway through. Whereas now I think I'm a bit better at having a clearer vision on how it's all going to come together and why, so that I might still make adjustments, but they don't wreck the plot anymore, which is nice.
Bless. And I just turn that on its head. What is your favorite bit to write? I mean, is it, for me, it's always the reveals when they all sit them all down and they have that little conversation between each other and between the suspect. That's just my favorite bit in the book.
I love it. And they always call it the j'accuse in the Dahlia books, because that's what my family call when we're playing Cluedo. Because we had a French Cluedo on holiday one year, and we did a lot of j'accusing all holiday, and that just stuck somehow. So my family think it's hilarious. I've managed to get that into print.
Well done.
But yeah, I love writing that part, and the best part is that's the bit, and that is usually in the first draft. That's the part where I go, oh, I understand exactly how all this happened and why. And I thought I knew what it was, but now I'm really clear on it. So then when I go back and revise it, I literally just print out that scene and make sure that everything that leads up to it makes sense so that can happen.
Yes, definitely. And so you've had some obviously fantastic settings in the series. Fan convention, crime writing festival, West End theatre. You must have gone to see what's it called? Oh my gosh, that's escaped from my brain now. And a seemingly haunted castle in Scotland, which was fantastic. Are there any other settings you'd love to explore further down the line at all?
Yes. I'm not allowed to tell you the one right now, and I really, really want to, because it's so good. You're going to love it. But yeah, there are definitely ones I would like to explore in the future. I've never done an island mystery, as in and then there went on. I'd love to lock them away on an island somewhere. I'd love to do a dark academia one, send them back to a university for something. And obviously they do seem to enjoy traveling now, so who knows where I might take them.
Nice, that handy. I'm sorry, it was the mousetrap that I was thinking of.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The mousetrap was my husband and my first date.
Really?
Dr. Watson and I went to go to the mousetrap together.
So, is that, obviously you weave quite a lot of things into your books then. Are there any other sort of Easter eggs that we don't know?
Oh yeah, probably loads. I mean, the theatre one is full of them, because my family are big theatre goers, and I actually worked as a production assistant at the West End very briefly, because my cousin is a scriptwriter for West End shows. So I was able to bring a lot of that in. This book 2 is set in North Wales, because that's where I grew up and that's where my family still live. So Jack, Rosalind's partner in that book, comes from Llangollen, which is just down the road from where I live, or used to live. Obviously the crime writing festivals, there's so much in those from places I've been to since becoming a published crime author. The Scottish castle, I think, was just pure wish fulfillment. I can't. But I do have a big thing about castles being Welsh. I spend a lot of time in castles, and I used to be an event organizer many moons ago, and I did a fantastic event at Belvoir Castle once, and that definitely stayed with me while I was writing it. I think the atmosphere of that place. So
definitely. Yeah. And obviously going back to the true crime podcast, They felt obviously very contemporary. Were there any specific podcasts you listened to for inspiration on that?
No, not really. I think there's just so many.
Yeah.
And I obviously I did my due diligence research, but I wanted something that fitted exactly what I needed it to be for the plot. So I pretty much just made that one up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing it anymore, but Kathy and Stella, the musical on the West End, that was so good. If you do like true crime, I would recommend that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you've written 5 books in the series so far. 6 is coming out next year, and then maybe a 7 down the line, from the sounds of it.
Could possibly say.
Maybe. Do you have a timeline in your head for the characters, or would you just love to write for them, about them as long as you can?
I mean, I would absolutely keep writing about these characters as long as they'll let me, because they feel like family to me now. And I love sending them new and exciting places. I don't know how long. I mean, I'm very lucky to be in the position I am, that the series has already gone on so long. So I never like to bank on another contract. But I would absolutely keep writing them. And I think they are growing and aging, but somehow the last few books have all taken place within the space of about a year. So they're not growing and aging quite as fast as you think.
No. What I would like to know, will we see more from Jack? Because I don't know what it is, but he is almost one of my favourites.
Yes. He's not much in book 6, in Death on a Lively Sea. You do see him briefly. He does show up. But if there happened to be a book 7, and if I happened to be planning it right now, ready to start writing it next week, hypothetically, then Jack would be in that one an awful lot.
Okay, I remember.
As would Kit and Annie, because Annie is my daughter's favourite.
Oh, she is lovely as well. You've done the couple so well, I think, and that's something that I really love about it as well. Because obviously you got the main trio, 3 Musketeers, but then their partners are just so lovely as well. So.
I like writing their relationships and having them have, maybe minor issues, but generally be quite functional relationships, because that's not what the books are about. I don't have to write big conflict between the romances. I can keep that somewhere else. It's nice.
Definitely, yeah. And would you ever write a prequel, maybe, potentially?
Oh, I've never thought of that.
Okay.
Who knows? You'll be thinking now.
So just going on to the audiobook versions of things, obviously audiobook charity. Julie Bond is such a wonderful narrator.
She's amazing, isn't she?
She's just so lovely. There's so much warmth. You can feel it when she's or you can tell when she's smiling when she's reading these books. Yeah. The vocal range as well, and the accents, they're just so good. How involved were you with the casting and the audiobook process and that side of things?
Not very, sadly. When they were optioned for audiobooks, I was sent samples of possible narrators, and Gillies was it just blew me away. I was like, well, obviously that one. Can we have that one, please? And they all went, yes, that's what we thought too. So it was very, very easy decision to make, because she just brought it to life so well. Other than that, she just gets on with it.
Yeah. Does she pass the Welsh accent test?
I can't listen to it too closely, because I don't want to be too judgmental about it. But yeah, no, I think it's generally pretty good. I think, I'm very happy with her work. And I know that she says Dahlia rather than Dahlia. And my dad really likes that. My dad says Dahlia rather than Dahlia. So it can go either way. I've decided I don't mind which one it is at all. So people get to choose which one they want. It's fine.
Definitely. And for me, the series feels made for television. Obviously thinking about Miss Marple, that kind of thing, Midsomer Murders. What would your ideal format be if there was like a television series or maybe a film adaptation?
Well, it has been optioned for TV. And so they are working on, and it's such a slow process, and it's very, 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 very early days. So they are working on a treatment, and then we're going to see if we can find somebody to invest and produce it. But when we've talked about it, we've talked about maybe 6 half-hour episodes of a series, or something similar, 6 to 8, I think. And I like the idea of TV format rather than film, because I think I enjoy TV murder mysteries so much. I would love for it to be a TV murder mystery. And I would like the idea of not having to try and squash a whole book into an hour. So yeah I quite like that idea.
I mean, if you're talking about dream casting, I don't know if you've thought about this at all. Who would you pick for the three?
I really, really don't pick. I'm very, very
Oh,
careful
okay.
about this all the way along. And people always ask, and my dad is adamant that he knows exactly who I was thinking of when I created these characters and who I would want to play them. But it's always like so-and-so 20 years ago, or so-and-so except they're dead. I mean, Dad, that's not really helping with the casting process. but I really never wanted to envisage one person playing the role, because the odds on that person ever actually playing the role, if it made it to TV, were so infinitesimal, first of all. And I wanted to be able to be excited about whoever did get cast. So yeah, I don't have a dream casting, but I love hearing other people's dream castings. That's my favourite.
Nice. And I hate to ask this because I feel like it's probably like choosing between your children, but do you have a favourite out of the three, maybe?
I don't. I really, really don't. I love them all in such different ways. But I do enjoy writing each of them as well, because it feels different writing each one. So they quite suit my moods quite well as well. That if I'm in a particular mood, I'll particularly enjoy writing things. So if I'm feeling a little bit bolshy or a bit snarky, I love writing Caro. We have a great time, and she says all these terrible things that then have to be cut later. And if I'm feeling really very clever, I like writing Rosalind. And if I'm, which not so often, but I like to feel that when I'm writing Rosalind, I am a more elegant and intelligent version of myself. And then when I'm feeling just a little bit fragile, I like writing Posy, because she feels a bit more real.
Bless. So, which fictional detective, classic or modern, do you think the Three Dahlias would most like to team up with if they could?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I could see Rosalind loving to team up with Poirot. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think Caro would have a great time teaming up with Jonathan Creek. I think that would be hilarious. And I think Posy, I'd really like to see Posy with Miss Marple, actually, because that would be quite sweet.
Definitely a lovely partnership, I think. But if you had to spend a weekend with one of your characters, who do you think would be the most fun, but who would cause the most chaos?
I mean, Caro would cause the most chaos. That's she just would, but it would be fun.
And what would you say your favourite crime trope to write is?
I think my favourite one to write is the two-part clue, where they discover something really early on, or something happens really early on that they don't recognise the significance of until almost the very, very end. And then suddenly it's what brings the whole thing together.
Nice. And I think we asked Tom Hindle this one, so I'd love to throw it out to you. If you could add any sort of weapon or anything to Cluedo, any room or any character, which would you pick?
Oh, I'm trying to think now. What are the weapons in Cluedo?
Oh, that is a good question. I think there's the rope, and there is the lead pipe. That's all I remember off the top of my head.
And it's a revolver and a candlestick.
Yes.
And I don't think there's poison. Is there poison?
No,
I think I would add poison. So. I would add poison.
Good pick. So what is next up for you? Obviously, book 6 is coming out next summer, you mentioned.
Yes. Death on a Lively Sea. As I say, the Dahlias get invited onto Billionaire's mega yacht to stop a case of expected murder. So that's quite fun. I enjoyed that one. And then I am currently writing 2 books I'm not allowed to tell you about, but I did do an Instagram post yesterday with everything my agent said I was allowed to tell people about the one I'm writing at the moment. So I'll tell you those things. I'm writing it. It's not the book that's due in next. It's not going to be out until summer 2027. And it's not a Dahlia's book. But it does feature 3 detectives, one of whom isn't even a woman. And it still feels very much like the same vibe as the Dahlia books, the same sort of emotional heart and the same warmth, but the coziness. And I'm having an awful lot of fun doing it. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to tell people about it when my agent says I can.
So you're just sitting on everything at the moment.
Honestly,
I really want to tell everyone.
I can't tell anybody anything. It's really boring.
Oh, no.
But yes, I'm also researching another book, as discussed, that I might be starting very, very soon, which might be coming out even sooner because it's the one that's due in next. And that one might feature the Three Dahlias, hypothetically. Really bad at secrets.
Yeah, I was about to say, how do you not spill this to your friends? I mean, who do you talk to? Obviously, your editor, maybe.
I do spill to my friends. I'm just, well, some of them.
Yeah.
Although if I tell my mum, then the entire North Wales knows. So
right, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh no. Bless. So just last one. Is there any other sort of cozy crime or anything that you're watching at the moment?
What have I watched recently? My daughter and I watched The Residents, which we enjoyed an awful lot this summer. That was very, very good. I need to catch up on Only Murders in the Building because I'm very behind. But I started watching it and I watched the first couple of seasons. And then my daughter got old enough to watch it despite all the swearing. I was like, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning and watch it with her. But we're rewatching The West Wing again at the moment. So until we finish that, we can't start it. But I've also read some good cozy crime recently on my holidays. I read The Christmas Clue by Nicola Upson, which is about the couple who invented Cluedo, and I enjoyed that a great deal. And I read the most recent one in Sophia Bennett's Her Majesty the Queen Investigates series, which is The Queen Who Came Out the Cold, which is also great.
They're really fun books, they are. I do like this. Would recommend. Right, so I think that's everything from me today. So thanks so much for your time today, Katy.
Not at all. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been lovely. So just to say, A Lively Midwinter Murder is available to buy in paperback at the moment. And then we've got A Deadly Night at the Theatre, which is hardback, I believe. And they're both out. Obviously, Christmas is around the corner, so I would recommend Lively Midwinter Murder. But if you are obviously a Listen Books member, we've just got that in on the audiobook as well. And as we said, Dilly is so good. I would very much recommend those. Listen to those ones. So thank you so much. Hope you're all well. I was going to say, if you or someone you know has an illness, disability, learning difficulty, or mental health condition that affects their ability to read print books, then feel free to find out more about Listening Books if you do enjoy audiobooks. And yeah, thank you all. And I hope you're too early to say we're not going to have one next month, but I hope you all have a good Christmas and enjoy playing Cluedo or reading murder mysteries. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next year, everybody.